Starting today, we are about to enter one of the most active patterns I've seen in a very long time. This is going to produce tons of severe weather, especially down there in the central, southern plains, and the south central U.S. We are also going to have a threat for serious flooding, as these training storms are going to pile up water. Also, a big concern for flash flooding in the same areas over and over and over. So starting off, we have a marginal risk stretching from the panhandle of Texas all the way into Illinois. This is driven by a 5% risk of hail with a small, low intensity. This is a new system that we will have to break down. This is basically, you have the potential for some decent hail. Not like insane. I think level 2 is 3 inches. Level 1 is potential of 2 inches. But yeah, anywhere around here, we could look at some localized stuff. Tomorrow, Wednesday the 4th, we have a large slight risk stretching from Texas into southeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, southern Missouri, and into southern Illinois. Our marginal risk stretches down into Mexico and over into southern Ohio. And we generally have this being mostly a wind and hail threat, no SIG on this yet, which is the intensity. Now, day 3 is looking very interesting, as we have a very large area selected with a slight risk, stretching from Kansas into Texas, and our marginal stretches all the way into Iowa. But that's not the most important part. Look at this. We have a decent intensity for this. We do have it on a level 1. Now, here is the very important day. This is Friday. We have a very large equivalent slight risk. This is the largest that we've seen since like spring of last year. And we also have a large enhanced risk. That slight risk stretches from Lake Michigan into Texas, but the enhanced area is Missouri through Oklahoma and eastern Kansas. Alright, first of all, we do have to start out with the jet stream pattern, because this is what is causing everything over the next 2 weeks. We have already a system right here. It's a small trough. It's nothing much, but very soon this thing will enter the plains tomorrow, which is why we have that slight risk over there. And then we are going to end up having this trough even further to the east. But this is not the most significant part, as we have a deep trough on Friday, which is why we have a widespread enhanced risk. And this is going to allow for an extremely warm sector, and is going to allow a lot of the heat and moisture up into the plains. And we're not done with that too, because we have this cutoff low in the west, and this is going to end up producing even more severe weather next week. So what could this look like over the next little bit? First of all, we're starting off with snow here. That's going to wrap up very soon as we head into early tomorrow. We're not going to need this much more. And we're going to have some storms over here in the plains tonight. That's why we have that marginal risk. But our real day here is tomorrow, where we're going to have some serious storms break out over here in the southern plains. And then this might move east, bringing some heavier rain over here in the Midwest and the central east. And could actually produce some snow again in the same exact spot. But we really got to watch it as we head into Friday, because we have a huge low pressure system that continues to look very, very favorable. And this thing is going to be prime for producing heavy amounts of severe weather. Hence is why we do have a day 4 enhanced risk. And again, it looks like we could have day 1 right there. That's basically day 4, and maybe a day 5 slightly further to the east. But even if we do have a little bit of a break here, we're going to come back with some vengeance, as we have a new system over here that could produce some severe weather over here in the Midwest. Now, the Euro does validate this quite well, as our Friday system also shows a powerful low pressure area, and that will allow for heavy amounts of storms as we head into the evening and early morning hours of Saturday. Now, one trend I do want to keep a lookout is maybe there will be a gap after Saturday. But again, we will definitely come back with vengeance, as the European does show. We have cold air coming behind, allowing for some snow. This has been relatively consistent, as we do have a severe weather situation bringing up in this storm as well. But this is middle to end of next week. So you might be asking, what makes this actually possible? Well, here's the first ingredient that we always want to talk about. We have very high heat. We are well above average in pretty much all of the East. And the second thing we want is cooler behind this. And do we have that? Exactly. Friday into Saturday, we have massively colder air moving through. And even beyond this, it's going to stay very warm. A second ingredient that we want to have is wind shear. And do we have that? Yes, we do. We have plenty of wind shear across the plains and the Midwest. And as we head into Thursday and Friday, we have plenty along with this system right here. And the third thing is general fuel from the Gulf. And do we have this? Oh, yes, we do. Over the next couple of days, we have plenty of it. But as we head into Friday, it comes extra far to the north and extra far to the east. And this is another reason why I think Friday is going to be our big day. We could see a moderate or even a high risk if things pan out. And the last thing I do want to cover is the pattern that we are in right now is going to produce lots and lots and lots of rain. We're seeing upwards of 10 to 12 inches of rain over the next 2 weeks. And it is very consistently stretching northeast Texas into Arkansas, into western Kentucky, western Tennessee, southern Indiana, and Illinois, and Missouri. So if you live in this area, just be super careful. Also, the West Coast, especially in the Pacific Northwest, is going to stay active. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!